Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in to this episode of Mission Critical. Make sure to hit like below and subscribe for more updates from our show. Let's get into it. Hi Kimchi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. I'm so excited to be chatting today because, I think as a journalist, I don't know if we're ever supposed to really admit this, but I'm a fan of your work and I love what you do and what you represent, and also the visibility you've given to Korean culture and also just the Asian community and Asian diaspora as well. So it's, and as a Korean person myself, it's just something that I think has been something that, I've craved, growing up and wanting to see in media. So, I'm just so excited for our chat today. How's everything going?
Everything personally is going great. The worldwide, not so great at this moment.
Yeah, there's a lot going on in the world. How do you cope with that? Actually, just being someone that is in the public eye and in the public discourse, and also in a community that is quite literally at the center of a lot of the things that are going on in the world.
hmm
How do you zoom in and zoom out with everything that's going on?
Obviously, if there's like dire information that people need to know right away, I'll use my platform, share, and talk about it. But then also, if I keep like fitting into the news, like it also makes me spiral like in a
Yeah,
bad place mentally. So then, just recently, my thing is I just like don't go on social media. Like I don't scroll.
no doom
Because I
scrolling.
Yeah, because every day is just like some breaking news about like how like human beings are losing their rights and people dying, getting killed, and
It's heavy.
billionaires
It's
getting richer. It's just yeah. So I just
it's
have to
heavy out
like
there.
I have to tune it out. For like at least for the next like 3 years, and
Yeah.
hopefully, I don't know.
Who
Anyways,
knows?
I didn't mean to spiral already on the podcast, but aside from that, personally, everything's going great.
Love that. Love that. Love that to hear for you. I wanted to start off, when people hear your name like Kimchi as like the drag queen, they might think, yeah, a drag persona, a beauty entrepreneur, a cookbook author, cultural figure. But when you hear your own name, who do you think of first in terms of who shows up first?
I guess entrepreneur would be like the most correct way to put it, but I'm always someone who loves new challenges and I love like learning new skills. I love like doing things I've never done before. So if there's something that I haven't done and I'm offered a chance to do it, I'll always say yes to it because I love rather die trying something, knowing that I tried than like never have done anything. So,
Yeah.
and I guess yeah, it will fall under a category of like entrepreneur.
Yeah. Have you always had that kind of innate sense of curiosity, like even growing up, or is this something that you've kind of grown into and learned to be curious as well?
Maybe because I'm someone who gets bored very easily, I just constantly need new stimulation. So, I'm always like looking for like new ways to like, you know, keep my brain wired. Maybe I'm like
Sure.
undiagnosed ADHD or something.
Yeah, fair enough. Drag was once seen as, a subculture a long time
hmm
ago, and now it's become such a part of mainstream culture in so many ways, popular culture, and you've built such an incredible, business foundation off of that. When did you first realize that drag could be more than performance, more than a persona, and really the foundation of like an entrepreneurial life?
I guess it was like unintentional, but obviously like I love watching Drag Race growing up, and one of my like biggest thing was like there's so many like queens that like I love supporting,
Hmm.
but like a lot of them just weren't putting out merch, or they would put out merch that was not what I would personally consider cute. And I'm like, I want to give them money, but just
Sure.
like give me a product that I want to spend money on. So after I got on Drag Race, and I'm like, well, at least I want to make sure like all my merch is cute and they're all stuff like that I want people to like wear proudly instead of like having be like this like really hokey like merchandise.
Yeah.
So I like designed all my shirt in a way where even if you didn't know who I was, it's still like a cool like graphic thing that people could like wear around. and it's like,
Hmm.
and it doesn't feel like drag merch. And that's how I got started. And like almost like every other episode, I would like create exclusive T-shirts that had to do with my time on the show, and I would like make them in a limited run, and each design will completely sell out. And then for DragCon, I made enamel pins where I'm like, well, let me make enamel pins, but do it a little differently. And I designed it so it looked like a paper doll, but you could like change out the wig and the outfit to the enamel pin, and it was received really well. And those also sold out right away. And I was like, oh, so there is like a potential to be had for designing like a good product, that
Yeah.
is not just a drag merchandise, but obviously like people that appreciate me and one's like a part of my aesthetic will purchase it, but also even people didn't know who I was, like people will purchase it and they're enjoying it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting because like I feel like drag queens innately are entrepreneurs in so many ways because there is this element of having to like hustle and make things work and like solve challenges and figure it out, right? Just as drag
Hmm.
performers. But I feel like you have been such a pioneer in terms of in terms of innovating in as an entrepreneur in that space, and as you mentioned, not just making it drag merch but just merch in general that really
Hmm.
leverage pop culture moments and leverage communities that of course were in the drag community but now are beyond the drag community, and like what could be and what the possibilities could be beyond what might have been a very very smallish part of the market and now is much a larger net that you're casting. Did that always, I mean, did I guess where did you learn the skill sets and also just the strategies in terms of understanding how to create products and find the right people to make the products and move at such a pace at the beginning when you didn't have all these things necessarily, these relationships established?
Yeah, a lot of it is like as like you learn as you go. I don't have like a background in business or performing or my background is a graphic designer.
Hmm.
So basically, like, only thing I came with is like an eye for design and like quote unquote artistic talent. I feel it's very pretentious to even like call yourself like artistic, yeah, but
Definitely, like it's definitely true though, for sure. And so
um, oh, sorry.
no, go ahead, go ahead.
So in my this is before KimChi Chic Beauty when I was like making merchandise. My like main MO was like let me hire like the most talented people that also not everyone is working with. So like let me discover talent and especially queer Asian American talent. So
Mm,
um all the like a lot of the illustrations and all that were all done by like queer Asian artists. That I like found their work through like social media, like Instagram and Tumblr and things like that. And
yeah,
obviously, like I compensated them, like and
yeah.
also like letting like their work know. So, and I feel like when you like highlight talent like that, they're also like appreciative of like for the opportunity, but also like it's a mutually benefiting relationship because they provide you this amazing work.
So over the years, how
Mhm.
would you say that your own personal definition of success has changed from when you started your career and you started your businesses to, today being a bit more established and having an audience and understanding what you know now? How has the idea of success changed for you?
The idea of success. I guess everyone has like a different idea for success. For me, success doesn't mean necessarily like a financial success. Personally, like my goal with KimChi Beauty is so like how certain products like Cody Earth Bump Powder, for example,
Hmm.
everybody knows like what the packaging looks like, and so many people know what the packaging looks like because they saw it in like their grandmother or their mother's like nightstand, and a lot of people just like know that product by heart. And I want that to be KimChi Chic Beauty products where if I'm like no longer on earth, but like the legacy of like my brand like carries on as like a
Hmm.
staple in people's household. And even if people didn't know who I was or what I did, but they like genuinely loved the products and became part of like their daily routine, like I think that would be like a great success for me. And it's really cool seeing on social media, like a lot of people say like, oh, like the setting powder is my like the best setting powder I've ever used, blah blah blah. And then the comments would be like, "Oh, the owner's a drag queen," and like a little these people have no idea, and I think that's
Right.
cool, and it feels like I'm succeeding.
And they're coming to your brand because it's a great product, not because they
Hmm.
know you necessarily as a drag queen and as a persona first.
Exactly.
What would you say, are have been like the biggest hurdles to building Kimchi Chic Beauty, like both from within the beauty industry and from outside the outside perception of drag as, quote unquote niche? What have been some of the challenges and also some of the opportunities that you have been able to realize through your company?
I think probably like the hardest part for us was launching the brand and then COVID happening, which and then like with like shipping and like getting like products, like and then having it be
Yeah.
like docked in the sea for like months at a time because like no one can access it, and then there's like a whole thing with the tariffs, and I feel like it's always something, so we just
Yeah.
navigate
Yeah.
it day by day. It's a
Yeah.
very interesting time to be a small business owner right now. That's for sure.
How do you stay nimble and have the ability to kind of pivot as these kind of things come up?
You literally just have to take it day by day. You never know what kind of like irrational things are gonna come from like the government. you know, what kind
Yeah.
of breaking news is gonna happen that's gonna like change the tide of everything? Oh, which great relationship we had with like another neighboring country will we destroy today?
I know it's a strange time we live in right now. I
Yeah.
was interviewing another founder, a beauty founder, a few months ago. She's a Canadian beauty founder behind this Indigenous brand called Cheekbone Beauty, and she was talking about how they had put so much of their time and resources into putting out this lipstick, and it was right before the pandemic. And when everyone would start wearing masks, and like the amount of stress that came from
Mm-hmm.
that moment because you put everything all into this product and so much of your financial resources and everything, and then all of a sudden you're hit with this big moment where people can't even one wear your product like because they're wearing masks and everything. So I guess my question for you is, without knowing what the world is going to throw at you, how have you built in a sense of one, resiliency within yourself, but two, I guess the reinforcements within your company to make sure that regardless of what's thrown at you as a business, you're able to move quickly and be able to kind of adjust as needed?
Obviously, like everybody in our team are like fabulous people. They're like such hard workers, and like they love the brand and they believe in the brand just as much as like I do. So I don't know. All I can say is like we just take things day by day. That's all you can do right now. You can't plan anything too far ahead.
Yeah, sometimes
So
that's the best policy.
yeah, and then sometimes we can't control things. So like, what are the upcoming releases and what are the products that we want to develop? And hope for the best.
So much of being, I feel like so much of being, a drag queen is rooted in understanding like a sense of your own brand and who you are
Hmm.
as a persona. What do you think are the key ingredients to building a superstar personal brand and how that has extended into your other professional endeavors?
So obviously you want like a persona that sets you apart from everybody else, but then also that voice has to be authentically you. I mean, it's one thing to just like do something that no one else is doing, but if it doesn't feel genuine, like either people see it or you're going to be trapped in this persona that you don't enjoy doing.
Right.
Um, and I guess the persona of Kimchi is like live action anime character, who loves high fashion.
Yeah.
And that is also genuinely who I am as a person too. So I'm a nerd who loves glamour.
Right, right. As a sidebar, what's we just interviewed Maggie Kong, who is the founder of or the creator of K-pop Demon Hunters.
Mhm.
Is like, what are you drawing, or how, I guess, like, how are you feeling about seeing the world embrace Korean culture and anime and this kind of like hypersaturated world across music and film and pop culture in general in the way that we're seeing it today?
Oh my god, amazing! So when I first started performing, I would only perform K-pop songs
Yeah.
because at the time K-pop was like unknown in Korea. So by me picking a name, Kimchi, and only performing K-pop songs, I was like forcing my Korean culture into like the Chicago gay nightlife. And after I performed, a lot of people were like, "Oh, that song was like so amazing. That was catchy. What was that song?" And people like look it
Mm,
up. Nowadays, like K-pop is like everywhere, and you can't escape it. But I
yeah.
love it. Um, let them know. I'm not saying I'm a
Yeah.
pioneer or anything, but I was trying to make it happen back then, and now it's so much easier.
Yeah.
now,
Yeah. Yeah.
now you don't have to like really sell the fantasy because people like hear it and they're like, "Oh, I know this song."
And that's been through the work of years and years of Korean culture being exported and
Hmm.
supported by artists like yourself as well. Was there like a specific artist that you gravitated towards in any of the songs that you would perform to?
So at that time, my favorite K-pop group, their name was Tierra,
Okay.
and I performed like a lot of the songs by them. I'm showing my age. Yeah, yeah, second generation. Um.
When I first discovered K-pop, like way back in the day too,
Hmm.
my first introduction into the scene was Boa
Oh
and
yeah.
21, and then
Hmm.
MP. That was like my era of like K-pop, and now like, but it's so interesting because like seeing some of those K-pop stars that I grew up with and trying to enter. I remember when they tried to enter the quote unquote Western market with
Hmm.
music and stuff, and they didn't quite get into it in the way that they did, but they paved and opened the doors for so many other people that we're seeing today, like the Blackpinks and everything, because they made that effort, right? It's so interesting to see the evolution of that.
Sure. 21 walks, so Blackpink can go to Paris Fashion Week.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Um, so I just went on a big sidebar there, but when we talk about, I guess, cultural leadership, drag itself in and of itself is a form of visibility and leadership by community. Do you see your drag persona and your business persona as different from each other, or are they quite ingrained with each other, and do they feed off of each other? Obviously you have your brand name and your stage name and everything, but do you ever feel like you want to separate the two, or do you feel like that is a natural symbiosis?
I feel like that is natural symbiosis. I feel like just like when people like get ready to go out and then they put on like a full face of makeup and an outfit, like that's their drag.
Hmm.
And my drag is like, if I go out today, will I put on a fabulous wig or will I wax my hair down?
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
I mean,
Have
that's
there
different
been
for everybody, but just like personally for me, like I feel like the same person like in and out. I'm just presenting in like whatever like form that I want to like present.
have there ever been any moments for you along your career where you felt like you didn't have or couldn't get a seat at the table, so you had to just ultimately just build your own table for yourself and see, who would come to and sit with you in that sense?
I've never worried too much about like what I don't have because I feel like there's always someone who's going to be richer than me, prettier than me, skinnier than me, more famous than me,
Mm,
and I don't care about all of those things. I don't know if I've ever cared about like getting a seat at the table. Like what table, Like
yeah.
yeah, I'm fine like staying in my own lane, doing my own thing,
Yeah.
not worried about
And
like
so, yeah, well, so much of your work has really, focused on joy and self-expression and like even like liberation in lots of ways. How do you think about beauty as a cultural tool for dialogue and discussion about where we are as a society today, and how we can use beauty as a vehicle for what we value, and also like what we don't value?
obviously like I'm like a firm believer in everyone should do whatever they want to do as long as they're not harming anybody else. And even when it comes to beauty too. Like a lot of the people like feedback from like I get from like, oh, that color is like a little too bold. I don't know if it's like right for me. Oh, like that is like a little too sheer. I think don't worry about what other people are gonna think. Just put on the colors and like the shades that make you happy, whether that's a complete neutral or like a bright like rainbow puke. Do what makes you happy.
Yeah, ultimately. So we were talking about, the beauty industry and historically how, sometimes it hasn't always been the most inclusive space, either by, whether by race or gender or body type or whatever it might be. What role would you like your brand to play in dismantling those barriers and creating more access and inclusivity?
I think it starts with the consumers supporting brands that are minority owned, LGBTQ owned, any brands like that, come from like folks of like marginalized communities. So that's why like our brand, like being inclusive is very important to us. And that's why we collab and we also like work with models, who come from like various like aspects of life.
Mm-hmm. I love that. What's like been like a favorite campaign of yours that kind of reflects that viewpoint?
Oh, I think like my collaboration with Naomi Smalls, obviously, definitely is 'cause she's my best friend,
Mm-hmm.
and she also is like a strong like artistic guy. So like collaborating with her was like a dream. And then our collaboration with Plastic Tiara was also major.
Both incredibly beautiful as well. That also helps, I'm sure.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, yeah.
From your perspective, what's exciting you about the industry and the community right now and the culture, I guess? Like, what's the most exciting thing that's like, oh yeah, I'm really, really excited to be immersed and living and working within this industry?
Like through the rise of things like TikTok Shop and just like an average consumer with a TikTok account feeling like they have a voice and they could like make reviews and things like now you don't have to just be like a huge YouTuber with millions of followers to like generate views and like hits, but anyone with like a TikTok account can easily go viral like with their reviews and things like that. So
Mm-hmm.
it's really cool to see the like tried and true reviews from like an average consumer feeling like they have a voice and like a lot of the reviews feel genuine, which is
Yeah,
also
like
like very exciting to witness currently.
yeah, like democratizing kind of the access in the industry and the ability to kind of create a business on your own and launch.
Exactly. Yep.
Is there anything like down the road that's like maybe 5 or 10 years from now that you think is going to really be a big part of the conversation in terms of the future of beauty and how you want to play a role in that conversation?
They call it like the rise of conservatism and then also like the rise of like like a recession indicator. These are like the words that are like thrown
Hmm.
a lot, in a lot of the beauty spaces. I think like a lot of the trends like reflect that too. People are just going more and more minimal, like less color. But then also, people are like afraid to like shell out money for like big purchases now because everything is so expensive. When it comes to like beauty brands, with like an affordable price point, people shell it out on because people are getting like the dopamine hits from like products that are affordable. I think that's one of the reason why you see like a lot of like indie brands that you just like coming up and like succeeding. People aren't paying like $80 for like a single shadow anymore. Those days are long gone.
Right, right, right,
So
right.
I feel like where we're gonna be 10 years from now, I don't know. Will America still be standing?
I know it's hard to really think a decade in decade spans because one, everything moves so quickly these days
Hmm.
that it's like you're thinking in like months and like years versus like a decade. And also just things change so quickly. And even the
Yeah.
pace at which like something like AI has completely and
Oh my
continues to
god.
change the industry too. Like who knows where we're gonna be at the pace that things are changing now. It feels like every week there's something different.
It's crazy, and like the conversation around like AI too. Like when you're online, everybody's like anti-AI, anti-AI, anti-AI. But then in my real life, all the people around me, like I see people sending out like invitation to Partyful with like Partyful like graphics like made with AI. I
Right.
see like average person just like resharing like AI created content.
Yeah.
Do people really hate AI or do people I don't know, it's
Hate the concept
yeah.
of AI. Yeah.
But then they'll
I
still fully use it. And like everybody I know uses like ChatGPT and they brag about it. Like people are like,
right.
oh, I do all my grocery shopping like with ChatGPT. I like throw in like $80 and then like ask them to make me a grocery list. And I'm like, grocery store is like I don't know. Grocery shopping is like the easiest thing you can do. Why do you need ChatGPT to make you a grocery list?
Sure, I know. And also, I have to say that like sometimes when I'm scrolling through my Instagram feed, I it has gotten so good, some of the AI, that I'm like, I have to really double and sometimes triple check to see if like a video, I'm like, is this AI? And then I have to go to the comments because I'm like, okay, I need someone to actually verify and like validate whether or not what I'm seeing is like like actually AI, or if it's like a genuine, like it's made everyone, I guess, a bit more skeptical too, which is not a bad thing. I think it is actually
Mhm.
good to have a little bit of skepticism these days, but it's just so hard to pick up because it's gotten so good so fast. Like you could usually, I feel like this time last year you could tell really easily if something was AI, and now I'm like,
Mhm.
oh, it's like it's pretty sophisticated what I'm seeing out there on just the
And it
usual
happened very
ways.
quickly too. So like in a couple of years,
So
like
fast,
yeah. And
so
I've
fast.
actually had so many friends that were like laid off and their position was replaced by AI.
Oof,
So
yeah, that's tough.
10 years ago, everyone going to tech thinking like you get these like majors in like programming things like that, and you'll be set for life. But no, like all those positions are being replaced with AI, which is crazy.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of what's happening in culture and, your line of work, drag culture originally started as a protest and continues to be in many different ways. But how do you think that protest, or what we're protesting, has evolved or hasn't evolved? Like, what do you think is the what do you think drag and drag culture is protesting today, or serves as a protest for today?
I think drag is protesting individuality, also mostly queer art, voices from like the marginalized communities. I can't speak on everyone, but like a lot of us, we start doing drag because we want to feel good about ourselves. So we create these like looks and personas to become someone we don't usually like present as like in our day to day life.
Yeah.
And especially like a lot of the queerists that come from like oppressive places, especially
Hmm.
like a lot of those like small towns from like conservative town, they happen to have like the best drag in the world because that's their voice and that's how like they creatively express themselves, in these like
Right.
oppressive places.
Right. Right. It's like growing from like a seed growing from like concrete or something. I
Mhm.
don't know. That's a good metaphor, but
Like for
I
example, like
understand what you
Texas
mean.
and like Salt Lake City has some of the best drag that I've ever seen, and those
Mm.
places will be considered like some of the most conservative places too. So
Over the course of your career, has your perception of what drag is and who it's for, has that changed or evolved over the course of your career, like when you started out to where you are now?
yes and no, because I feel like when I started doing drag, drag was already starting to become really popular. But I guess nowadays, like everyone has an opinion on drag. Like everybody can turn on the TV and like put on MTV or like Paramount or whatever streaming that they watch it nowadays, and
Yeah.
you know, and he's like, "Ew, like that's not drag." Like but it's like there's no rules to drag. Like people do what makes them feel good,
Yeah.
and take it or leave it.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. You operate and exist in like the world of drag, but also in the world of media, in food and beauty, and essentially just bringing people together around joy and this shared experience. What is something like the notion of breaking bread mean to you in a broader sense, and like bringing people together?
That is a hard question.
I guess like maybe if I rephrase it, what brings you joy about being able to bring different communities and your different identities together through what you do? Because you're not just doing drag, you're not just doing you're not just building up social media profile, you're not just putting out um, a voice in food media, you're and being a beauty entrepreneur, you're all of these things. So I guess like what brings you joy about bringing all these worlds together, and by extension the communities together?
It's really hard to summarize because like being able to do something different every day and then meet different people from all aspects of life is what makes me happy.
Hmm.
I mean, obviously, like I'm an extrovert and I love like meeting various people. And whenever I get to like meet people who can teach me something that I've never been able to do before. That's like what motivates me to keep going, and I want to like meet as many people as possible with different skill set that could also like share it with me. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. No, and I think it can be just that too, is just being able to just have more people in your life that are sharing and giving, and in return you're
Hmm.
doing the same thing with them, right?
Yeah.
You grew up Korean in America. What messages did you receive about beauty in terms of uh, coming from Korean culture, which has, very specific kind of beauty ideals, but then
Mm-hmm.
also being um, like a Korean, person of color in America? How did those two things, I guess, come in contrast with each other, and how did they kind of inform your philosophy around beauty?
It's interesting is in Korea you're naturally beautiful until you're skinny, and whenever you run into someone you know, the first thing they're gonna tell you most of the time is gonna be like, "Oh my god, you've lost so much weight. Oh my god, you've gained so
Hmm.
much weight."
Yeah,
And
살쪘어.
살쪘어. 살
Yeah,
많이 빠졌네. You know, and that's
yeah,
the
yeah.
first. You know, that is all everybody like is obsessed with. And when you've lost a lot of weight, people are like, "Oh my god, you're really taking care of yourself." And
Mm,
but these are the things like we don't ever voice to people to their face in the Western culture.
hmm.
Um, Generally, like people don't comment on other people's like appearance or at least just the culture, like to their face at least. When you're online, it's everyone's like, "Oh my god, is it just me or does she look like she's been like raiding the fridge every day?" I don't know.
Right, right.
And people will hide behind anonymity and comment on people's body. So that contrast is like very interesting to me, especially as someone like whose weight is like always fluctuating. I guess
Ha-
on a brighter
and
side, Korean people at least tell you to your face on what they think about your weight, while as Western culture, like people won't tell it to your face, but then you'll see it online later.
right, yeah. It's like, which one is better, actually?
Yeah.
Um, so I guess, like, how has I guess the culture of beauty in these two different worlds that you kind of exist in and have existed and grew up in influence the work that you do through KimChi Chic Beauty?
And not talking about when we're talking about just strictly just like makeup beauty standards too.
Hmm.
That is also very interesting because in Asia, everybody wants to be pale, and especially with the
Yeah.
makeup trend in Korea right now, it is looking literally white as possible. If you watch like any videos of like Korean celebrities and things like that, everybody is like not even just like peachy white. Everyone is like white,
Yes.
like
Yeah.
white. And when you actually go to Asia and walk around, people in the streets, they walk around with like that white skin that is, I'm like, that is not humanly possible to like achieve naturally for Koreans. I'm like, this is crazy.
Hmm.
And yet somehow they look like that, they get their skins bleached, they like wear foundations that are like 3 shades like way like lighter.
I one
Well,
time met someone here in Toronto who had moved from Korea, and it was like a summer day that I met her. And as I was talking to her, I realized that she was wearing skin colored like tights on her arms, because I could
mhm,
see like the seam around her wrist. And I was like,
mhm,
oh, that is like not even her skin that I'm seeing. It is, but she was wearing it as if it was her skin, like in the sense that like she was wearing like a short sleeve dress and everything.
mhm.
But like I was so surprised to see that, because I was like, oh my God, it's like it's not even just the face, it's like the whole body. And I'm like, you must be really warm, first of all, too. But like it is, to the lengths that some people will go to, is astonishing. And I feel like
A
Korean
lot of them
culture, you
also like
definitely.
wear like this cream that also reflects light.
Oh, okay.
So like when you see them like in stage with like stage lights and things like that, that's why also they look extra wider because they're like reflecting like the light to even look wider.
Wow, I didn't even know about that one.
While like
So
in the
I
Western
guess,
culture, oh sorry,
no, well, Western culture, it's like the
right.
opposite, where we
Everybody
want to
wants
get
to
a
be
tan.
tan. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. It's very interesting, like kind of the historical context around a lot of that stuff too. But I guess through your work, I mean, it seems like obviously just embracing so many different, like, diversity in
Hmm.
general, and so many different types of skin types and body types and everything, to kind of really reinforce this idea and culture of inclusivity, whether you're coming from a Korean culture or a Western
Hmm.
culture too, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Did you see, I mean, like, having been you know, having lived in both Korea and America growing up, what was your experience like with seeing yourself represented? Because obviously, when you're in Korea, you see yourself represented from like a cultural standpoint, but then if you're in America, you see less of that in media. So what was your experience like kind of going between those two worlds?
Yeah, so obviously, when I look at Korean television, it's easy to see people like that look like me. But in the American media, the only like Asian celebrities that I really knew were Lucy Liu, Sandra Oh, and Margaret Cho, and who are all very fabulous and like absolutely great. But
Yes.
like I never really saw myself in any of those folks.
Yeah. Yeah, in popular
Um,
culture, Western culture.
yeah, and I always felt like, and even at least this was like in the Chicago gay scene, like when I was like up and coming, people just weren't into like Asian guys. Like a lot of people either want to only date white or black, and then people that were into Asian guys strictly only were into Asian guys. Like they call them rice queens,
Yeah, and then it feels weird
and it feels
when
like
you go
I'm
too
just
far in
like
that
part of like their
direction.
fetish. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I don't know, like it's like, do I have a place in the world? But I
Yeah.
feel like a lot of that has changed now, or,
Yeah. I mean,
or
I
at
think
least,
it's
or so I thought. At
yeah,
least
it's
there's like a lot
really
more.
interesting because, speaking from my own experience growing up in Canada and not seeing myself represented in popular culture, the
Hmm.
only people that were like guys that I saw represented were like I think literally Bruce Lee, Jackie Chan, and Jet Li in terms of
Hmm.
the media that I know that like my
Yeah.
family consumed and stuff. And I'm like, well, if you're like an Asian person growing up in a Western culture and you don't have any aspirations to be a martial arts like
Hmm.
actor, then what do you have as a reference point? And then that's not even even scratching the surface around like seeing an Asian person represented that is also queer. Like that is a whole next level, right? But it is
Hmm.
I was just curious to see what your experience is like having lived in both worlds where you do see a lot of representation and then you don't see a lot of representation and kind of oscillating between those two worlds.
Now I feel like I could be the representation for someone because a lot of people do. Like, when I like meet them at gigs and like meet and greet, they tell me like, "Oh, like I relate so much to you," and things like that. Oh my, you're such an inspiration to me. Which, like, thank you, thank you, thank you. But just go out there, get yourself out there, be the representation that you need.
Do you like having that kind of responsibility or having that mantle of like being that person for other people in the community?
I've never tried to be that person for that community, but if it's happening, I think that's so cool.
So you've built a pioneering beauty brand, authored a cookbook, toured the
Hmm.
world, done so many things, so many incredible things. What's next? What's the next frontier for kimchi and the kimchi empire?
From KimChi Empire. Obviously keeping the world fabulous. One
Yes.
makeup at a time. We want to continue working with amazing creators from like around the world, especially those from marginalized communities. And like right now in my life, I don't really have big goals. I just want like everyone in the world to live peacefully and happily, and that's all I want, you know.
Yeah, I know that's the most that we can hope for these days, it seems like. How do you decide which opportunities to pursue and which to pass on? Because I'm sure there's lots of things that are put in front of you, and you've been able to pursue so many things, but how do you know what to take on and what to be like, you know what, this one's not for me, I'm going to pass, or maybe this is not the right time?
In the past, I've accepted like a lot of things just to like try it out and have fun, but then like come to find out like they're like problematic or like things like that. Like for
Hmm.
example, my agency was like, "Oh, do you want to do this campaign for like trans visibility day?" And I'm like, "Oh, that sounds amazing. Yeah, like let's do it." And then it turns out the place that was doing like a trans like awareness campaign didn't actually hire any trans creators, and then it was actually
Like
also.
for an awareness campaign around the trans community.
Yes, and then on top of that, it was it was like a fetish website that
Mm.
that like fetishize like trans folks. And at the
Yeah.
time, like with my agency, I just assumed like they would have vetted it and it was going to be something like this amazing campaign. But I'm like, oh my god! So now I gotta like look really into everything that
Due
I say yes to.
diligence.
Yeah, due diligence.
For sure, for sure. Do you ever think about legacy? Like, is that something that enters your mind at this stage in your career? And like kind of like what you would like to leave behind when you're like retire, when or when you want to just settle down and not be
Mhm.
constantly in like building mode, not just as like a drag artist, but also just as like a business leader. Does that enter your mind?
Just me as personally, it's my legacy. I don't, it doesn't really matter like what I do, but from like the brands I built and like the hard work of like everyone that went into like achieving the things like I've worked with, I would like that to like leave behind. I think I mentioned before where like I wouldn't mind like my products becoming, like staples in people's lives and it carries on for generations. And
Hmm.
I think that alone, like, I think I'm happy and cool with.
When future generations do look back at you, what do you hope that they say you built? Not just for drag or for beauty, but for just
Mhm.
the culture.
Hopefully they'll say things like, "Oh, that person was just like a silly little artist who was on the right side of history, who fought for what was right."
Yes, yes. These are the questions that I feel like a lot of us are asking ourselves these
Hmm.
days. And just are we going to be proud and happy with the decisions we're making today down the road? You know?
Yes.
Yeah. I want to thank you so much for your wonderful patience and your time and your energy. I really love chatting with you. If you have a few more minutes, I'd love to do a quick rapid fire if you're down for that.
Yeah, sounds good. Let's do it.
Okay, kimchi, fresh or sour?
Sour.
Okay, and do you have a favorite type, like oi or the radish,
Ooh.
or like what's your vibe?
Ooh, I like oisobagi, but my favorite is pakimchi.
Ooh, okay. Yes, yes, yes.
Especially not cut up the whole, so you can like wrap it around and then eat it like crunch, 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 crunch.
Yes, exactly. What's your favorite comfort food from home?
Ooh, my favorite comfort from home. It's gonna sound very simple, but just fresh cooked bowl of rice with butter, soy sauce, and egg mixed in.
Yes, that is a classic. I
It's just
feel
like,
like that's something that a lot of us grow up on.
yeah, I mean, maybe it's a struggle meal, maybe it's just like a quick breakfast, like, on the way to school or something, but, nothing
Struggle
beats it.
meal.
Yeah.
Okay, sweet, savory, or spicy. What's your like default like flavor mood?
Oh, always savory, 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 savory. I like sweets, but I never crave sweets. So,
Right.
um,
Okay. So
if you were doing like a fuck, marry, kill, I would say, fuck savory, marry savory, kill sweets.
okay. What's one ingredient that you always have in your kitchen?
Oh, there's so many ingredients, hard to pinpoint one.
Is it like a staple that you just like you either like stock up on or you just make sure that you never run low on?
I guess fresh garlic. As a Korean person, I always have to have like garlic, and then also
Absolutely.
green onion. Just like a
Yeah,
little scallion on top of everything makes everything fresher and makes it prettier.
I agree. Elevates just the most basic things.
Hmm.
Do you have a favorite restaurant in your city right now currently?
Oh, there's so many, but my favorite is called porikoge.
Okay.
They do, what's the Korean word for it? A poribekban, but
Okay.
every dish is it comes with million side dishes.
Yes,
But every
banchan
side
you need
dish
to
is
have.
made
Yep.
like so fresh and so good. It sounds simple from the way I describe it, but every time I've brought people there, everyone's been like blown away.
I always feel like the measure and the measure of like a great Korean restaurant is
Hmm.
one just to see who's in the restaurant, but then two, the panchan, like the quality of the
Yes,
panchan. That to
yes,
me, I'm like, oh, if you've got good panchan, that means like the rest is
you know
gonna
what
be
you're
great.
doing. Yeah.
Exactly, exactly. What's the best meal you've had on tour, or maybe the most memorable?
Oh, there's so many, but I think one of my favorite meals that I've ever had is from Taiwan when I first discovered their night market.
Okay.
Like Taipei has over like 30 different night markets, and each of them are almost like a mile long, if not
Wow.
longer. And you just like walk down and you literally buy everything that you want to buy and eat. And it's going to be some of the best food you'll ever have, but also the cheapest. You can go there with like 20 bucks in your pocket and you won't be able to spend it all.
Yeah, yeah. Is there like one specific thing that you remember getting there at the night markets that that really like stuck with you?
There is this thing called black pepper bun, and
Mm.
they like make it into a special oven, which almost looks like a tandoori oven. And it's this pastry that is jam packed with these super peppery beef and mountain of green onion. And when you bite into it, the whole thing is filled with juice, almost like a soup dumpling. And the
Oh,
outside is like crispy, almost like a pie calzone shell. And the meat is like so peppery and spicy with the sweet green onion, and it's just bursting with juice. Oh my god, it's so good.
I need to go for lunch after this.
I think it's called like Hu
Um,
Jiao Bing or something like that. I'm sure I butchered the pronunciation, but
yeah. Your name is Kimchi, your drag persona, but is there a dish that represents you personally, other than like kimchi?
mm, is there a dish that represents me? Uh, Maybe spam fried rice. You get a little bit of
Yum.
everything, a little salty.
I love it. I love it. Okay, switching gears, what's one makeup product that you can't live without?
Oh, probably eyeliner. I feel like so
Hmm.
much of my makeup is like eyeliner driven, and an eyeliner can like make or break my look. So,
Do you have a beauty hack that you secretly swear by?
not to sound like I'm like sim from our products, but the Puff Puff Puffs setting powder followed
Hmm.
by the stage proof setting spray will really lock your makeup in all night long. And I'm not just saying it because I made it; it's genuinely like amazing product.
Yeah. What's the best feedback you've gotten from like your other friends in the drag community when they've
Oh,
tried your product?
they all use my product. All
I love
drag
that.
queens all use my product, and if they
Yeah.
don't, they haven't discovered it yet.
Yeah.
no, literally,
Tried
I
and
get
tested.
no, literally. Um, Even when I see like videos of like queens backstage, there's always like my products like on the counter. So I think that's so cool. I feel like that is like the
Mhm.
ultimate like compliment when a drag queen uses your product.
Absolutely, because you know it needs to be able to deliver and perform.
Exactly.
Do you have a favorite part of getting ready, like your routine, like whether it's like for your wig or your makeup, your eyelash? Like, what's your favorite part of that ritual?
I always like to put on a podcast when I get ready.
Hmm.
So then it feels like someone is like speaking to me, as I get
Mm.
ready, so I can just like get in the zone and listen to people talk.
What's your favorite show right now?
There's so many, but one of my favorite podcasts is Table Manners with Jessie Ware.
Hmm. Hmm.
Jessie Ware, she's just an amazing singer from UK, and her
Yeah,
mom had a podcast
her
where
and her
they
mom.
invite
Yeah,
different guests. Yeah, and then
yeah,
they cook for them, and then they talk about whatever.
love that. Love that. What's a trend in beauty that you wish would disappear forever?
I don't even know if I should even say it now. um, People idolizing and worshiping like specific creators.
Mm,
Like they are not God, and especially like I don't know, a lot of them were like allegations to like them doing awful things, but people still like worship them like they,
right.
I think that's a little weird.
The cult of fandom, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite city that you like to perform in, other than the one that you live in?
Oh, San Francisco.
Okay. Why do you love it so much? Why is it your favorite?
I have so many like there's like a huge Asian community out there. Um,
Hmm.
and every time I go to like shows and things like that, it's all like Asians in the audience, which like I never had that growing up, just like a gaggle of Asians, just like all hanging out together in one place. And I think that's so cool.
I love that. Last question here. What's one thing that you wish everyone knew about drag and then about your work?
What's one thing everyone should know about drag? I think you should go to your local drag shows and find out for yourself why it's so amazing. You know,
Hmm.
I don't want to tell you. I think you should be able to discover it on your own. And that's what makes drag beautiful because there's something for everyone at every drag show.
I agree. I agree. Thank you so much again. I really appreciate it. I hope to see you in Toronto at some point again, or at some point soon. Would
Yes.
love to. Have you had a chance to explore Toronto's food scene, by the way? It
Oh my
is
god, that's amazing. Also,
so good.
so many great Indian restaurants.
Yeah, we have a little India. I have to say, like I've lived here for about 13 years, and
Mm-hmm.
I think that we are like Torontonians are spoiled because we're so used to having access to such a wide spectrum of cuisines, also at a wide spectrum of price points. And
Mm-hmm.
when you go to another city in a different country, there's a lot of times it's like a mono food culture. And
Mm-hmm.
so when we come back and we realize that our dominant food culture is actually the multicultural food culture, it's really just incredible. Like you have access to quality food at any price point, any cuisine. It
That
is
is so
on
true.
point.
Oh,
So
so jealous.
I hope that you are able to come back and maybe we can go get some Korean food sometime.
Oh my god, that would be amazing. Yeah.
I'll show you my favorite ones.
Yes, please. Yeah, show me the way.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Hey everyone, thanks for listening to this episode of Mission Critical. If you enjoyed our discussion, make sure to hit like below and subscribe for more updates from our show. Until next time, stay sharp, stay curious, and go make something happen. We'll see you on the next episode.